Hello and welcome to my audience, if you're listening live or if you're on the replay. This is Paula Kallick, your host of Up Your Vibe Radio to Make Shifts, and I'm coming from the Coach on Fire network. And I take great pride in bringing you people from all around the world that can give you strategies or tips that if you implement, it will make a massive change in your life. And today is no different, apart from the fact that my guest speaker, Jo Trewartha, is much closer to home. And where are you located, Jo? And hello.
Hello, Paula. Great to be here. I'm actually in Halesowen in the West Midlands, about 5 miles from Birmingham city centre.
That's really handy.
Yeah, right in the centre of England.
Right in the centre of England, close to so many facilities as well. It's a wonderful place. And of course, I met you in Birmingham on an EFT workshop one day, didn't I? Was it, or supervision?
Yes, we did. We shared EFT. I think we've met on other trainings as well. I think JT Fox was another one that we hung out at.
We do get around, don't we, Jo?
Speak for yourself, Paula.
But that's the beautiful thing, that we do get around, because
we get around in a good way.
Get around, and it gives us a massive life experience, which of course is our journey in life, which has brought us to where we are now. So Jo, the title of today's show is She's Got the Whole World in Her Bra. And I know that you're going to enlighten us to that title later on, but it sort of brought a smile to my face, because I thought, what on earth is she going to talk about? But of course, you're going to talk about really, really good things that's going to help the audience. So how to consciously connect with key elements, essential elements for accelerated progress, and how to begin taking action right now. But Jo, what is it that actually made you so passionate about being a pioneer in well-being?
Okay, Paula. So it began really when I was a young child. I've always, throughout my life, pretty much had some sort of health condition going on. So I've had eczema, psoriasis, so those are both skin conditions, inflammatory arthritis. I had a Lyme diagnosis at one point. I've had hay fever. I've had asthma, a whole host of illnesses. So as you do, when I was little, I went to the doctors and the hospitals with my parents, got treatments, got a little bit better for a time, but most of these things didn't go away very quickly. Some of them have gone now. I'm no longer affected by asthma or hay fever, but some of them have stayed with me and either got a little bit better or a little bit worse, or a bit of both, flares and then periods where I functioned really well. So throughout my childhood, I stuck to the allopathic route and I just hoped that I'd get better. As a teenager, I started to get an interest in why I'd become ill, and I started reading. And I was in the library one day and I found a fascinating book about environmental medicine, which was quite a new topic then. That was the 1980s. Mm-hmm. And it was talking about how pollution and just various other toxic things can affect us. And it sort of got me questioning a bit more outside of the box, because those sort of things discussed in that book weren't mentioned to me by the professionals that were treating me. And as time went on, I got more and more interested. So also it became a passion and a hobby, exploring. So I became interested in alternative and complementary solutions as well. And then I started training and learning different things. But I worked as a teacher for almost 20 years. Wow. And I got to the point where I thought, I love this so much. And I now feel that I know quite a lot. Even though I haven't fully healed myself completely, I've got a lot of knowledge and I can possibly help others. And teaching is quite draining. Although there's lots of fun in teaching, it can be quite draining with paperwork and politics. And I thought, well, I'd done quite a good stint there, so I decided to switch and make this my career. So as you know, I've trained in several modalities, and now this is what I do for my career.
And one of the modalities you trained in is lifestyle prescriptions?
That's right, yeah.
And that's Meta Health, I believe.
Yeah, it's sort of like a branch of Meta Health. So do you know what Meta Health is?
I did train in it for a short
Yeah,
time, but
yeah.
sadly I didn't complete, as you know.
Okay, so Meta Health is quite revolutionary in that it's an analysis process that works out the underlying reasons why people become ill.
So
And there's usually
it's a mind-body connection. It's a
totally,
mind-body
that's exactly
connection.
what it is. So it actually explains it very specifically. It's an analysis process. So I trained in that, and then I decided to do lifestyle prescriptions as well. And the reason why I did that is the Meta Health is actually quite technical. And it's wonderful, but I wanted something to be able to explain more simply to people. So I trained in lifestyle prescriptions, which is really practical. So it's about making life changes, self-care, and improving your health step by step.
And what is it that you studied at Stanford University, the
Yeah.
expert patient program? What was that?
Okay, so the Expert Patient Programme is a community-based course for people with long-term conditions. So those are things like diabetes, depression, arthritis, so anything which isn't generally resolved in just a little bit of short treatment from doctor and pharmacy. So conditions that stay with people and they generally struggle to get over. So it's a 6-week programme, and it works at encouraging them to become better self-managers of their own condition, to improve their own quality of life, and so they're less reliant on the NHS and other services. So it's absolutely fantastic. It's very empowering and very
And is that
positive.
a program that you run? This program?
I'm a tutor. I'm an accredited tutor, so I've got my Stanford accredited certification for that. So I can deliver that in the community. So I work with charities, NHS, and Ridley Public Health, delivering that.
Sounds amazing, absolutely amazing,
It's
Jo.
really good.
Yeah, and also you worked. You are a trainer in the balance procedure.
Yeah, I love the balance procedure. I know you know the balance procedure
I
too.
love the balance
Yeah.
procedure.
Okay, I've got my cards here. I've got number 5 for communication and number 3 for clarity. So do you want me to explain a little bit about that now I've done that?
And I think also you should also explain about the title now. She's got the whole world in her bra, because I believe it's to do with the cards, isn't it?
That's right. Okay, so I'll just explain a little bit about the balance procedure. So the balance procedure is a technique that works with heart energy, subconscious mind and breath, and was developed by Jenny and Alan Park. It's not my technique, I love it, and so I'm happy to train it to others. So it works with 9 different symbol cards. So I just showed you what they were. So an example of what they are. And the symbol cards work with different energies and different healing methods. So within the cards, we've got chakra system, human body, colour, numerology, affirmations, zodiac, and so on. So it's very powerful because it's got several modalities included in one. Okay, so it's useful for anybody, Paula, who wants to up their vibe, anybody at all. It's a very positive, easy technique. It's relaxing, simple, non-verbal, and you can do it in minutes. And it works because our outer world is a reflection of our inner world. So using the cards, we consciously create what we want. Okay.
And does that work for men and women?
It can work for little children because it's non-verbal, people with disabilities who can't communicate very easily, men, maybe people who don't want to discuss what's going on in their lives, women, young, old, absolutely everybody can use the balance procedure.
And one way I used it was with an app on my phone. So there isn't any reason why anyone can't start to take action now, today, because it's very reasonably priced. It's not thousands of pounds. It's not even hundreds of pounds for the app. It's just a few pounds.
That's right.
And it really, really does work, and it can be so helpful to get that clarity in your life. And it comes with the booklet that explains your birth numbers.
It does. They call the life path.
That's right.
Your life path, yeah, and your personal year.
I was surprised when I looked at that, and how actually it was very accurate to what I wanted to do and where I felt I was going in life, without even understanding that my birth number meant anything whatsoever. It's amazing.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I was never really into astrology or numerology or anything like that. And it's just the thinnest little book that you get. But it seems to, I've never found anybody who says, oh no, that's not relevant to me. Absolutely phenomenal. Anyway, so the reason why the show is called She's Got the Whole World in Her Bra, I was quite poorly earlier this year. I went for a really big healing after some surgery at the end of last year.
Yeah.
And I was a very naughty girl.
Oh, you were?
I gave up. I gave
up?
up. I gave up everything. I sat in my chair, unable to move, smelly, with skin cracking, eczema cracking, bleeding, unable to move, and I didn't even bother with my self-help techniques. I was just so depleted of energy and just so not willing to even, I just gave up. I wasn't interested. After being so keen and passionate about all of these things for years, I gave up. And I saw Jenny Cox recently, and she said to me, put your cards in the bra. Ta-da. And the reason is because we use the upper heart chakra area, which is the upper thymus, to balance. That's where we do our balance check from. So even if you don't want to stand up and do your modality, your balance procedure, you can just put them there, watch telly, have a nap, and they will still be working for you.
Fantastic.
So
and that helped you to come out of whatever you were in?
Yeah, it did. I mean, I noticed as soon as I started doing my modalities again, particularly it's just so simple, I changed my mindset again very quickly, and I soon got my passion for life back.
It just shows you how powerful these modalities are.
Yeah, completely. So even if you can't do anything, you can sit with a pack of cards on your chest and get some benefits. So thank you to Jenny Cox for that one.
So, Jo, you talk a lot about the lack of self-care that you had at that time, and the effects were very detrimental towards you. You know, you've explained how your skin was cracked and you got smelly. So, sorry about that. But
it's okay. No, it's completely true. Even if I had been able to go outside, wouldn't have wanted to go out because my skin was cracking, and yeah.
So even with all your vast experience in education, we aren't perfect. We can still fall foul of this. You know, people think, oh, because we're so educated, you know, like you, I've got about 21 qualifications, but I still have off days or off weeks. In fact, you know, we're not perfect. But why is it so important to attend to your self-care? And we're not talking about washing the dishes and doing the housework and making sure you've got nice clothes, and we're talking about what's inside, aren't we?
We are. Okay, so again, it's all about upping your vibes. Self-care is about valuing, nurturing, loving yourself, being in harmony and balance with who you are and everything going on around us. So we all live busy lifestyles. Life is really fast-paced and hectic for most of us these days. So we can continue maybe working quite hard, burning the candle at both ends, or eating junk food for periods of time and get away with it. However, if we start doing that indefinitely, we are going to cause problems for ourselves, particularly if we neglect several areas of our life at once. We stop exercising, we don't eat properly, we don't get proper rest. Okay, and then if you have a trauma come up, then you're more likely to develop a long-term condition. Long-term conditions are really, you know, causing huge problems in this country at the moment, both on an individual level, for families, the NHS, the economy, affecting the workplace. There's about 15 million people with a long-term health condition at the moment. And then, of course, there's carers looking after those. So that brings more people into the equation. And, of course, the carers need self-care as much as the people who being cared for. So it's massive, absolutely massive. So I'm really passionate about preventing people, after my own journey, trying to help people prevent developing serious conditions, also supporting those with long-term conditions to live the best quality life they can.
The issue I see there, Jo, though, and I don't know about you, when you have people come to see you as a practitioner or a therapist, that the majority of people that I see, the one common theme that they have is that they actually don't like themselves. So why would they acknowledge the self-care inside of them when they don't actually like themselves? And this would apply to most of the audience listening right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're conditioned, aren't we? We make ideas of ourselves based on what others think. We look in the mirror, we don't like what we see, we don't feel as good as somebody else, we have our own internal checklist comparing ourselves to others, and it's all complete rubbish until we realise and get that self-respect back and start doing things. We need a purpose, something meaningful to raise us and make life worth meaningful. I mean, it's really nice to put others first, but if you're putting others first, who's putting you first? You know, it's depleting and self-defeating.
Yeah, when I say to people, you are the most important thing in your life, they just cannot accept that. And I go through an energy process with them just so they can see that they are the most important person in life. You know, whether you're a mother, a father, an auntie, an uncle, a tutor, practitioner, a child, it makes no difference. You know, if you don't see yourself as the most important person in your life, how can you expect other people to respect you?
I completely agree. Yeah.
So Jo, I mean, over the years, you've suffered from autoimmune diseases. Can you tell us a little bit more about those and how it's affected you?
Right, okay. So as I said, I've had them pretty much since childhood, coming on at different periods in my life. And when I was having the treatment initially as a child, I got no idea there was any sort of emotional link to what was going on. So for example, arthritis and problems with the bones, I've found out specifically connected to self-devaluation. So that's funny what you just said there about, valuing yourself. So what I was doing was working very, very hard and trying to prove myself. And I literally got so much damage to my body because I didn't feel intelligent enough, or I didn't feel that I was as good as others in my job. And I became actually very good, but then because I'd got the damage in my body, I ended up having to really step away anyway, because I couldn't teach as well as I could, because I was so tired by it. And,
you were actually burning out, weren't you? Burning yourself out.
Totally. So if I'd got the realisation, the problem had gone on for so long for me that I'd got deformity appearing within my body. So had I known as a child, maybe I could have sorted things out sooner. And it actually started, I believe, when I was 6 years old, when I was told off by a teacher. So that's where my self-worth really kicked in big time, my self-worth issues. So what did I do? Go and become a teacher.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, it's sort of everything goes full circle, doesn't it? You know, in order for you to prove your self-worth.
Yeah, and I ended up working with low ability students.
And learning disabilities.
Yeah,
and learning difficulties.
Yeah,
that must be very rewarding. I've worked in learning difficulties and disabilities myself, and for me, working with people that have that particular problem, I found it quite rewarding. But you did it for a long time, Jo.
Yeah, I did. I was an English teacher as well for my sins. So as well as, you know, sort of being in the classroom, having maybe 150 kids through the classroom door a day in mainstream, there was all the exercise books to mark afterwards. And of course, that's a lot of marking. And then I went to special, where I had 6 in a class and 2 teaching assistants. So that was lovely with regards to the marking. But then I'm trying to teach Shakespeare, because Shakespeare's on the curriculum, to kids who, you know, really aren't functioning at a level where they are capable to do that, because
and now you still teach people, but differently. You know, you're teaching people how to get that self-worth back, you know, how to be happy in their body, how to start to love themselves, and self-care as well. So it's still that nurturing instinct within you that's still kicking in every day. And I know that today you are going to be phenomenal, because you have 10 amazing tips for our listeners that they can start to improve their well-being. So you may have to look down at your sheet for those people who are looking at this on audio. But Jo, what is Number one tip.
Okay, so these tips aren't revolutionary, but they're tried and tested. So number one is get the essential, non-negotiable basics right. So getting to bed, getting your sleep, getting the right number of hours in, drinking water, eating healthily, relaxation, exercise, just doing the basics is number one.
So it's about what you're putting into your body is number one.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And what is number two?
Okay. Yes. So the benefits of number one are you can cope better, feel well, and improve your quality of life. So number two is about acceptance mindset. So our beliefs are really important. Okay. They can affect our health and our wellness and healing capabilities. So we know the placebo and nocebo effect show this. So the placebo is when a beneficial outcome is experienced from a sham pill surgery, and then the nocebo is when a patient anticipates a negative side effect or expectations but actually gets a positive result. So we know beliefs are important there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you're stressed out, you are automatically blocking your potential. That's when things like procedure are really useful. Okay. The stress hormones definitely impact the immune system. So long-term overwhelming stress affects mental and physical health. It's important to ask yourself about your beliefs, whether they're currently supporting you or whether they're not doing you any favours at all. Maybe they're even creating fear. So beliefs are actually a hypothesis that can be changed. They're a work in progress. So we don't have to stick with the belief forever, even if it feels like it's a cultural belief. It doesn't mean it has to be true for us. So an I can approach is what is needed, not an I can't, an I can approach. So we could say, somebody's feeling a bit heavy, I accept my current frame and size and believe I can lose weight. So we accept where we are and we're going to do something about it. We feel empowered, we can do something about it.
How does that acceptance help somebody?
So acceptance helps. It gives, it makes, helps us create a sense of peace with where we're at, and when we accept that, it takes us automatically out of stress and we're ready to build on it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And we're not just talking about acceptance of beliefs, we're also talking about acceptance of past traumas and events or anything that's not useful to you anymore.
Yeah, anything that's not serving you, you can change your belief. And nowadays we've got these techniques where we can change them in a minute. So once you know that, there's no excuses.
Okay, and what is tip number 3?
Number 3 is do some research. So find out real life evidence, proper people who've overcome similar issues to you. So there's lots and lots of information on websites and on the internet all over the place, but have these people really got specialist knowledge to support you? You can waste loads of time, energy, money going down routes which are no good or aren't going to properly support you. So I say do thorough research, find people, if you've got a health condition particularly, find somebody who's overcome it and maybe find out what they did.
Well, there's no point going to a plumber if you're looking for an electrician, is there?
How true. Okay, so that again, the benefit of that is that you can get inspiration and help. There's a brilliant song though, I don't know if you remember it, Baz Luhrmann, Sunscreen, and it was, if I can give you one tip for the future, sunscreen would be it. And the whole lyric is about tips about how you can live life, and he says that we do recycle advice for more than it's worth. So watch what people are telling you, do thorough research.
I do remember that song actually. It did get quite high up in the charts, even though it was an extraordinary song. It wasn't a pop song.
It was more like lyrics, spoken lyrics, but it's very memorable.
Lyrics, but yeah, it was very good. I did like that song myself.
Yeah.
So, and can we move on now to tip number 4?
Yeah, number 4. Okay, raise your vibration with gratitude. That's a winner. We can't hold a positive thought and a negative thought in our mind at the same time. So choose the positive one. Okay, distract yourself. If something's really bothering you, find positivity in the situation. And this is really good because it can reduce cortisol in the body, it can improve immunity, it makes us feel great and increases longevity just by being grateful. So we all know people who are pessimistic and got a downer, and we don't like to be around those people. So, see how really that they're unhappy and grumpy, but we don't have to think negative things. We can choose what we think. So
yeah, I mean, that just makes perfect sense, really. If you're not grateful for what you have, why should you have any more?
totally. Okay. Yeah, and we've all got something to be grateful for, even when things are really bad. Particularly in this country, we've got homes. Most of us get adequate food and have clothing, and we've got a lot of things to be grateful for.
We really have. It's just about focusing on those things more than focusing on the negative things, because research suggests that 70% of our time is spent focusing on the negative things.
Crazy, isn't it?
Astounding.
Mm.
So I'm changing that. I'm really, really grateful for all the opportunities that I have coming into my life right now, including meeting you, Jo. We have so much to be grateful for.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah.
Thank you. So, tip number 5 coming up before we start getting
Okay. So tip number 5 is take action to release your stress, drama, and any other triggers. Okay. So there's 2 main ways we can do this. We can get real life solutions. So that could be putting people out of your life that causing you problems so that they're not triggering you, giving you some peace. Or you could work maybe with a mentor, a coach, or a therapist and use one of these techniques and reframe yourself so you can better cope with the situation. Okay, so the benefits of that one are obviously better communication, better self-image. I know that's important, we talked about that earlier, and of course reduction in negative feelings and emotions. And we all know we like to feel good.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole lot of difference between staying at home in the same tracksuit for days on end, then actually getting up, having a shower, putting some nice clothes out, and going out that door. That makes a complete difference to your mindset.
Absolutely, and I think we can be, I don't really want to make the effort, but once we do and we get out, we feel so much better for it. Absolutely. Being outside and mixing with people,
and just getting into nature, going for a walk in the woods, it can be so motivating to you and get you out of maybe a depression. Just spending time with nature is wonderful.
I agree, it's really healing, yeah.
So we've got tip number 6 coming up.
Okay, number 6 is looking at the wider picture. Okay, so by that I mean relief can occur on multiple levels. So we're composed of different things. We can be a mind, a body, a spirit, but we're also affected socially, as you just gave that example about staying in the house or going out, and environmentally. You gave another lovely example there of going out in the woods might help with your depression. So we need to maybe focus on, maybe we've got 1 or 2 of those areas that are out of balance: mind, body, spirit, social, environment. So it's easy to work that out and then just work on addressing those problem areas. And even if we just make one small change a day or a week, then over a period of time we're going to feel so much better. We don't have to do everything all in one go.
Exactly. It's got to be a step-by-step approach to so you don't get overwhelmed.
Totally. So there's benefits to that one as well. So we've got greater vitality by looking at the wider picture, greater zest for life, and less resilience on healthcare practitioners because you're self-caring and self-care.
Excellent. So tip number 7 coming up.
Okay, and again, Paula, you've mentioned this one. This one is embracing social supports. So knowing when to reach out is a skill for some people as well. So isolation is one of the worst things for us. I mean, particularly with men, suicide for social isolated men is really quite high. As humans, we're designed to be social and mix. We were in tribes initially, and I think even a couple of generations ago, the family was extended more and spent more time, and now it's like the nuclear family. So older people can feel very isolated, and maybe even people who have a family but are unwell can feel isolated. So it's embracing the right social support. So if it's not your family network, find a network that does support you. Also, people are not mind readers, so it's up to us to take responsibility, and if we need to be more sociable, reach out to people so we get better relationships and ease with challenging situations by dealing with this one.
Yeah, I
or
mean,
basic social support.
I came here and I was very much alone. You know, I came to a different place. I didn't know a soul when I moved to Poole. So I actually got out and I went to meetup groups. I looked for groups appearing in my area on Facebook. I was fortunate that when I go to work, I interact with people. But as a therapist, you're staying at home most of the time, and the only people you work are your clients. You see are your clients. So it's really important to make that effort. There are groups going on all over the country that you can attend. So there is no excuse really.
Wonderful, and you're a brilliant example of that. And then of course, if you can't get out, you really can't get out, maybe because of a health issue, speak to your doctor or a healthcare professional about this, and they have things in place to help people. They will have carers come out to you even.
And respite care.
Yeah,
So
totally. Something for everyone. You just need to ask and be assertive.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are we ready for tip number 8?
Is say no as necessary to pace yourself. So again, we've said if other people are looking after themselves and you're looking after them, then you can become very depleted because who's looking after you. And there's only so many hours a day. How many of them are you spending completely to you? I hope at least 1 hour a day. Because I think social media breaks are needed these days as well. If you spend a lot of time on social media, it can really zap your energy. And it's very easy to be on there for hours and hours at a time.
It is. Or stuck in front of the television for hours on time as well.
Yeah.
And what are they actually gaining by being on social media or on television, which they couldn't get by doing a bit of meditation, listening to some relaxing music, doing some breathing techniques? There's other ways that you can fill your time with without being plugged into media or television.
And I think that, I think music and meditation, those things you mentioned, can actually become a lot more enjoyable. And maybe just save TV for those things you really like. I mean, for me, it's comedy, so I like comedy, but I don't tend to watch the news or the soap operas or sport on TV. So the benefits of saying no include fully owning your own power and prioritising your own self-care needs.
Great. And I can really agree with that as well. You know, there are times where you do need to say no. Being the yes man doesn't always get you the respect anyway. So know when to say no.
Yeah.
And say it.
Yeah, say it, be strong, say yes to you. Saying no to others is saying yes to you.
Exactly. That's a brilliant saying. So we're ready for tip number 9.
Tip number 9 is more love and more laughter. So, cliche. So, love is the best healer and laughter the best medicine, but it's so true.
It is. I mean, the quality of your life is determined by your connections. And if you allow those connections to disconnect, it's about time now that you took the higher ground and started reconnecting with them. Unless you really can't reconnect with them. And if you can't reconnect with past connections, find new ones.
Totally. And as you said, love yourself first.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I love myself.
I love myself too. And I love you, Paula.
I love you, Joe. So it's easy to say and really mean it, because I do really mean it.
Yeah.
And there's no point saying love you if you don't mean it.
No.
It's about putting purpose and meaning behind what you're saying and what you're doing, and do it from a way that you're not pushing, because if you're pushing against all these things, it's not right for you.
Totally.
If you can't really say I love you and mean it, don't say it.
And there's loads of benefits to this one. So more love and more laughter. So the benefits are faster healing, less depression and low mood, natural pain control. So if you're in pain and you want to find a quick way to feel better without taking any painkillers, maybe just laugh for the sake of it, even if it's funny, and that can help. It sounds ridiculous, but it will work wonders.
Yeah.
If you've got love and laughter in your life, you tend to have fewer colds, lower blood pressure even. It's better stress management. As you say, connects you to others, keeps you grounded, it burns calories, and it's free of charge.
Wow.
I like that one a lot.
I like that one a lot. Now, I had a fabulous doctor, and like many other people, I suffered from depression. And my doctor was very anti-medication. I did take medication, but one of the most important things she said to me, she says, go home and laugh. She said, put You've Been Framed on. And do you know what? That simple comment absolutely brought me out of depression. I went home and I watched You've Been Framed, and I laughed and I laughed. And people think it's ridiculous, but it's not, because when you laugh, all the hormones, your happy hormones, come back into play again. And even when you smile, the body detects that and again releases the right hormones, happiness hormones. So it's brilliant.
Brilliant. Thanks for adding all that.
So go and watch You've Been Framed if you're really feeling down today. And tip number 10.
Right, so we're at the end. And as I said, these aren't, revolutionary, but they all work. So number 10 is have something to look forward to for you. So it could be a bucket list, and you can have fun with this. It could be something quite cost effective, or you could really splash the boat out, but as long as it's something that your heart really desires. So it could be learning to cook curry, having a chinwagon cup of tea with pal. It could be watching the Peaky Blinders box set and having a whiskey. It could be skydiving, driving a fast car, planning a trip. People always say, "Well, going to the Northern Lights," don't they?
It doesn't have to be a lot, does it?
No, whatever is on your bucket list, start doing it.
And the important thing really is prioritizing your own well-being and what works for you.
Yeah.
So if you could put it in a nutshell, what would you summarize are the key ingredients for well-being?
Okay, so key ingredients for well-being, as I said, I think it's all about creating harmony and balance in your life. So working with these multiple areas, the mind, body, spirit, social and environment, but working with the different areas of life. We've all got different areas of life. We've got our family and relationships, for example. We've got our career and work. We've got our finance, our health and well-being, personal development. Whatever the key areas are in our life, apply those strands, the mind, body, spirit, social experience to each of those. So, for example, say you're working really, really hard and you want more leisure time, you can work with your mind to find out, well, am I actually working hard because it's a pleasure to me and maybe my job's like my baby and I love it, or is this actually harmful to me? Am I going to burn out? So use your mind and make decisions. So how can you self-care more around, you want more leisure time but you're working so hard. For the body, as you know, we get some fresh air, move about is so good for us, really therapeutic to get out in nature, and doing that helps us get a greater sense of proportion on our work-life balance. So we've already got the mind and body built in there. Social, so we can take a friend with us when we go to our relaxation class or out for a stroll in the woods, so that's uplifting. And it's important to take breaks. Even if you love what you do, we need breaks built in, so we're keeping everything in flow and balance. And then create an environment which allows you to have more leisure time. So if you have to work hard, use your time smartly. Maybe prepare your meals in advance. As we say, delegate and don't do absolutely everything yourself, and be organised. Like I went out this morning and I've got 3 bags. And I was 3 bags, and I was looking for my keys, and they were in the 3rd bag. So had I just taken them out when I came in last time, put them in the drawer,
on the cupboard like
I wouldn't have had to rummage through 3 bags. So that was
that's so frustrating.
Nice this morning. So this is a proverb I really love, and it's body heals with play, mind heals with laughter, and spirit heals with joy. And I totally think that's so true. So
let's say that one again. The body heals with play. And the mind heals with laughter, and the spirit heals with joy. That is pretty amazing. And who wrote that quote?
I don't know who wrote it, but it's apparently an Irish proverb. Who knows? Somebody
very
very
good.
wise.
So, Jo, we all tend to get a lot of bad habits that absolutely probably contribute to the lack of well-being. Where can someone start if they want to stop those bad habits?
Brilliant. It's a really good question. It can be quite overwhelming, particularly if we've got big goals we want to achieve, knowing where to start. So the time is always now, though, I will say that. And what I suggest is make a very small incremental stages and build up. So, for example, if you want to lose weight and you've got a goal, maybe you want to lose 1.5 stone or something like that, rather than changing your diet and exercise program, buying new clothes, planning your meals all in advance, I'd say just do one thing to start off with and see how you go. So it could be as simple as the first week, I'm just going to cut out all sugar if you have a very sugary diet. So that's easy. So it means no desserts. And if you eat sugary snacks in between, just replace them with something more nourishing. Nutritious, maybe something savoury. So if you do that, it's very small and very achievable, very doable. So it's good for your self-esteem when you've got to the end of the first week and you've succeeded, because you know then you continue it long term.
Yeah, you're on the right track, aren't you?
Yeah, totally. So what I would say is give yourself a confidence level right at the start. So if it's, for example, I'm going to cut out sugar, if you feel less than 7 out of 10 that you can achieve it, it's probably not realistic. You're not committed. It's not the right time or the right goal for you, because that's half, it's not a full heart-centered approach if I feel less than 7 out of 10 about that. So I'd choose something else. However, if you do it and you slip up once, or you have to change your goal, I wouldn't berate yourself either, because that can be more damaging. Maybe you're in a circumstance, maybe you're at a social event and then food there is sugary, so you're hungry.
You just got to get back on
You've
it.
got to be realistic.
Just get back on it.
Get back on it. And also to self-manage, what I'd say, if you've got something that you want to achieve, like an exercise program and it involves going outdoors, again, put yourself some slack, just substitute. So it's common sense. So instead of doing my half-hour jog outside today, I'm going to do half an hour stretching inside. So have a plan, but make it adaptable. Give yourself flexibility and self-care and self-manage. So don't beat yourself up when you do stick up, but do try to stick to it as much as possible. And giving yourself 7 days at a time really helps you to build step by step on each of the things you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still aiming to lose a little bit more weight myself, but, I've got a lack of motivation, but it doesn't mean I'm still not carrying on with doing things that still helping me. It might take a little bit longer, but as long as I'm going in the right direction, that's all that matters.
Totally, and you've got that self-acceptance as well. It's realistic. You've started and you're going to jump fully back on, but you're doing the best you can right now. So
motivation does go sometimes, but it doesn't mean you just chuck the whole plan out the window. It just means you give yourself a break and then you go back to it when you feel ready.
Brilliant. And when you tell others as well and have others hold you to account, that can really make a big difference as well if they're asking how you're getting on with it, because they will cheerlead you.
That's right. Yeah. And people around you are very supportive. If you say to someone, okay, I'm on this challenge and I'm going to lose X amount of kilos, people will talk to you about it. Say, how are you getting on, Paula? You're looking a lot better. And it only takes that encouragement from others to spur you on. And it really is good.
And also, as well as spur you on, if you do slip up, they can help problem solve as well. So what can you do differently? Maybe you should try this. And sometimes people have some really good ideas. So.
Yeah, I'm one that any sort of restrictions, I can't do it. I've got to feel like I'm doing it on my terms. And that can be challenging sometimes. But I don't like people to boss me around and hold me accountable. I'm going to do it on my terms, or I'm not going to do it.
Oh, you're a strong woman.
Yes, I wasn't an anarchist for nothing, So, Jo, you have been so gracious with your time today, and it doesn't end there, does it?
Oh, it's been lovely being here. No, I've got some offers and things.
Yeah, you have organised a fabulous free gift for our audience if they want to take you up on it. That is.
Yeah, I got a free gift and I've got a competition.
Yay!
Okay, so the free gift, I've talked a lot about self-care and steps that you can bring into your life easily to improve the quality quality of your life. So as you said, I've trained in lifestyle prescriptions, and there's a book around that which I'm giving away as a free. I didn't write it, my trainer Johannes Fisting wrote it, but if people would like a free copy of that ebook just to give them some motivation or some ideas, or even just for a read, then do get in touch with me and I will email a free copy of that. So to get that,
yeah, your email address will be on the podcast, but please do read it out as well.
Okay, so my email address is info@freeyourmindsolutions.com. So that's really simple, info@freeyourmindsolutions.com. And if you just put free lifestyle prescriptions ebook as the title, I will get that over to you.
Yeah.
Okay, and the second offer is a competition.
Yeah, okay. I love competition.
Yay! So I am really keen to get the balance procedure out there more because of its simplicity. And
is that the balance procedure?
Balance procedure. So I'm giving away a free level 1, which will include the card set and the book. Okay, so there's a competition for that one.
And so do they have to come to Halesowen, or is it an online course?
They can do this one online unless they're local and they want to come to me, that's fine. But I do a lot of training online, so I will see on the 31st of December 2018 how many people have applied to from the competition, and we'll take it from there. Okay. So because this question, so the question is, and we've spoken about this, so why do I sometimes keep my balance procedure cards in my bra?
Ooh.
So I'd like an email, please, explaining that. It doesn't have to be long. So the answer's in the interview.
Okay. Your email address is?
Okay, so my email address again is the same one, info@freeyourmindsolutions.com. So if you could, again, just explain that it's the competition.
Amazing. You have been so generous, Jo. It's unbelievable.
Oh, I've really enjoyed chatting to you, Paula. Thank you so much.
It's been a fabulous show, and I'm sure all our audience will greatly appreciate the value that you've actually given today, because it has been massive.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time as well, and doing what you do to get everything out there into the wider world.
That's what our purpose is in life, isn't it? Behind every face is a story, and that story manifests itself in unexpected ways. And I didn't expect myself to be a radio show host and have the expectations and intentions in life that I do now, but I can see that from my adversity came this greatness that I do have inside me now. So I'm grateful for my journey, and I want everybody to be grateful for their journey and take away from it that learning that can create that greatness inside them too. And people like you and I are helping people to do that. So I'm proud of you.
And I'm proud of you. We're doing it again.
We're doing it again. So it's time for me to sign off. So it's goodbye from Paula.
Yeah, bye everyone. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.